I was on temporary assignment with the famed Terra Marines. We were studying their boarding methods, and they are close combat tactics. Overall, it was a great exchange, with both of us developing new methods. I had spent the previous day with this company's 3rd platoon, tossing each other around, as their sergeant put it. We had agreed to use today to recover. I was slightly surprised when their CEO, Captain Jason Fox, contacted me over the comm. "Jaw, I have a surprise for you. I bet with all those muscles you're probably hurting. I know something that might help. Care to join me?" he stated by way of greeting. "Yes. I am very sore, but I'll be ready to action again in a couple of days. I've heard of the pain-dulling effects of your suits, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that," I replied. "Nothing like that. It'll be relaxing and you'll feel sore, then amazing. Pick you up in 20? "I am intrigued. Yes, I agree." 35 minutes later, we were walking into a place designated as Divine Touch House of Healing. I assumed we were going to a clinic of some sort. Only the atmosphere was unlike any clinic I had ever been to. Instead of being cold and sterile, it was warm, slightly humid, and welcoming. "Good morning," stated the person at the front desk, with a smile I could only describe as inviting. "Hello, I'm Jason Fox and this is Jaw. We have 10:30 and 10:45. "Great. I have you both checked in. Jaw, since this is your first time, I have a couple forms for you to fill out. I'm sending them now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask." My data access terminal beeped, indicating incoming traffic. Jason and I sat down. I had sat on a couch and easily took up almost half of it. The forms seemed standard for medical treatment, asking about previous injuries, sore areas, concerns, medications, and more. Within a few minutes, someone came to take Jason back. I had completed my forms and returned them when someone came to get me. "Hello, I'm Jenny, owner/operator. Before we begin, I want to talk to you for a few minutes. You're the first rogue client to ever have a massage on Earth. I have to be honest, I've been studying your muscle and anatomy since Jason made the appointment, and I'm eager to try, but I can't promise you the same benefits as a human." "Well, I understand. You've been training for humans, and I am not one. I assume you see no danger in this massage, though?" I replied. "None at all. I just may not be able to work the tension out of your muscles as effectively," she stated. "I must admit to being confused. Muscles are normally tense, are they not? That's what muscle relaxants are for. I don't see how you could work tension out." She chuckled lightly. "On Earth, we humans find it very effective and relaxing to have another person manually apply force to our muscles. Ours tend to develop these spots we call knots. Having someone manually loosen them can feel mildly uncomfortable during the process, but wonderful afterward. That is my goal with you today. To manually undo your muscle tension. It may feel slightly uncomfortable during the massage, but I truly hope you'll feel better after. That's why I've been studying not only your anatomy, but your culture and preferences as well." "I am here to learn. I will comply," I stated. "Thank you, Jaw. Please follow me," she stated. I followed her into a large room. The first thing I noticed was how brightly lit it was. In the center was what the humans would call a boulder. A large flat rock that I could spread out on. There was a small hole near where I would place my head. The perfect size to lay on and bask. The air was humid, too, almost thick enough to swim in. "Jaw, human customs for a massage is to disrobe to the level you feel comfortable at. Any area you leave covered we tend to take as a sign you prefer it not to be touched. We never take offense to it. I will step out while you do so. Once disrobed, please lay on the rock face down. There's a spot for your face. There's also a controls for the lighting, temperature, and humidity of this room and for the rock. You're welcome to adjust them to your ideal comfort," Jenny explained, then stepped out. I never considered myself a modest person. Plus, this experience so far was very fascinating. I disrobed completely and laid on the rock. I could feel the heat soaking into my skin, just like hot Kala oil I use at home. I adjusted the light controls and the light stayed strong, but took on a more red hue. I felt almost as if I was home, basking on my roof at sunset, an activity I had always enjoyed with my father. The humidity was cleansing. I was already feeling relaxed. I heard a light tapping on the door, followed by Jenny entering. "It looks almost like sunset in here. I like it," she stated. "I've done a lot of research, so I'm going to start with a skin cleaning, then we'll move on to a massage. If anything feels uncomfortable or less than enjoyable, please let me know." With that, she took a small brush about the size of her hand. She dipped it into a pail of water that I could see steam rising from. That moment the brush touched my thick skin felt amazing. The bristles were firm, but not tough. She started at my left spine, just under my neck. Her pressure was firm. She cleaned an area, then used a towel to wipe away any dirt. While I knew I was clean, I could feel tiny bits of terror washing away. I had become attached to this world, but cleaning it away made me feel more raw, a feeling I could only describe as home. I felt the brush as it scrubbed my left leg. She used a small brush between my toe claws, which felt amazing. I had to admit I wasn't always the best at cleaning between them. I groaned slightly as she worked a tiny pebble out that had gotten stuck the other day in a sandpit. The process was repeated on my right side, head and then front. I thought of home, being bathed by my mother and foremother at the bubbling spring on their homestead. By the time she was done, I was already feeling amazing. Jenny then explained she would start the massage using her hands, then transition to her feet for extra pressure. I agreed, already feeling relaxed. I felt her hands where my neck and shoulders met, using her entire palm to examine and apply pressure to my muscles. I still had my doubts on her ability to perform any major help. Row muscles are much denser and stronger than that of humans. Combined with the fact that she was barely 2 meters in height, I could not see her small frame applying meaningful pressure. Yet I was more than happy to give her the chance, especially after making my skin so happy. She then worked her way down my back. I suspect she was just checking my muscles against her textbook knowledge. Her touch was becoming quickly familiar to me. After she had worked back up to my neck, she whispered into my ear, "Now the fun starts. It might be slightly uncomfortable. Let me know if it is, especially if it hurts." I then felt her hand going into my shoulder, only this time it felt like she was almost trying to grab a lung. She held her hand there for a moment and I felt my muscles relax. Then she released the pressure and moved her hand over skin a few centimeters away and did it again. Each time she did this, it felt uncomfortable in a very mild way, but great once I relaxed. After my shoulders, she grabbed the back of my neck in almost a choking manner. Had I not been used to her touch, my instincts would have had me slam her into the closest hard object. Instead, they told me to let Jenny work. Her hand worked its way up the back of my neck, slowly. When she reached the bottom of my head, she worked her way back down. My neck hasn't felt this great in years, I had to admit. "I'm going to transition to Ashiatsu," she stated. I could hear her step onto the rock with me, and heard her lean against a cloth of some sort. I felt hot oil being poured on my back. The scent was similar to Kala oil, but slightly different. Again, the heat was amazing, though I was beginning to be concerned for Jenny. I knew human comfort limits tended to be well below our own. Then I felt something else on my back. It felt like a boot, but soft. I realized it was her foot. She worked it around my right spine. The pressure felt almost like a warm, heavy rock rolling on my back. An amazing feeling. Anywhere I had tension, she found it, on her own mission to search and destroy. The broad sole making large sweeps, the toes searching for details, and the ball working deep, deep under my skin. Sweep, probe, pressure, discomfort, and then it went away, became the pattern. I felt I might melt into the rock and have to be scraped up before too long. Once everything on my backside had managed to relax, she had to help me turn onto my front. It was then I noticed the large beams hanging from the ceiling, and the canvas appearing cloth. I can assume she leaned into it, and held onto the beams to support herself. I noticed a sheen of sweat on her skin. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Gort is a very hot world, and our cities are humid. I do not desire for you to suffer." She smiled. "Thank you. I appreciate the concern. I really do. I used to be a botanist, and I worked in the Amazon here for some years. I learned to find the heat and humidity comfortable eventually. I still sweat like any other human, but it honestly doesn't bother me," she answered. "Ah, you might want to visit my world sometime then. You might find it comfortable," I suggested. "Shh," she said, gently silencing me. I was happy to comply. I shut my eyes and let my mind wander, and she started on my chest. Again, her pressure was firm. It seemed she used her planet's gravity to enhance her own strength. Again, the relaxing pattern repeated itself. After she had finished my legs and arms, she came off the table. I felt like warm rubber and assumed the treatment was done. She surprised me by grabbing my left hand and pulling it gently away from myself. She then placed it palm up on the rock and seemed to grind her elbow into my palm. Combined with the heat of the rock and her pressure, my muscles had no choice but to surrender. This was repeated with my other hand and both feet. Again, I was surprised as she moved behind me. She cradled my head in her arms and gently pulled it away from my body. On the battlefield, this would have been met with a vicious attack, but here, it was compliance and respect. Then I felt her palms gently squeezing from both sides. Again, my muscles could only relax. I had not felt this good in decades. I felt like a young recruit eager to start their training. I felt her pull away. "Joe, this concludes the treatment. I hope I helped you. I'm going to step out now. Please take your time getting dressed. There's hot tea over there for you. I think you'll like it," she stated, as she pointed to a small table with a cup of steaming liquid. She then stepped out. I had to lay there for a moment as I adjusted to the new feelings. Soreness and some pain was simply a part of Row life. We had medications to help when needed, but this was unheard of. I knew I would need to draft a report, and that the upper echelons would need to learn about this. I grabbed the cup and took a drink. I later learned it was called green tea. An amazing drink. It satisfies my thirst and rejuvenates. I got dressed again and realized something. This massage concept, if embraced, could change my world. I owed a great debt to Jason, but also to Jenny. As I walked back into the room where we entered, they were both waiting for me. "How was it? Feel better?" Jason asked. "I am unable to accurately describe how good I feel. We have no equivalent to this on my world. It is expected that one gets used to being sore as one ages. You are both in my debt." "I'm glad I could help, Joe. It was my honor. Plus, I get to be the first human to massage a row. That's something," Jenny stated. "Happy to introduce you to something new," Jason replied. "I don't think you understand. I haven't felt this good in 70 of your years. Quite a time, even for me. I have something to offer you both." "Thank you, Joe, but Jason has already paid," Jenny stated. "Yeah, man. No worries." "No, something deeper." I reached to my collar and removed my clam pins. "On my world, family is everything. You two have introduced me to something that has the potential to reshape my world and deepen ties between ours. It will be my honor to accept both of you into Clan Hijal. It is no insult for you to turn it down, and the offer will always remain," I explained. Is this like a marriage proposal?" Jenny asked. "I was married once, and it's not something I plan to do again." "No. I think the closest term is like a blood brother and sister. You would each be a full-fledged member of my family. You need not relocate, as families often spread apart in space. But in time, and our home fires, you would always be there. And always welcome." "I think I need to think about this. Plus, honestly, I gotta clear it with my chain of command. Not sure where the Corps stands on an officer accepting a great honor from an officer of another military," Jason explained. "Me too. I honestly want to research this some more. I truly am honored, but this is a lot. And pretty fast," Jenny chimed in.
Of course. Please take all the time you need. You may take forever to consider this too, without offense. Please keep these chars, symbols of my clan. Should you decline, I only ask that you return them.
That was some years ago. Ginny and Jason both accepted. They each plan on visiting my home village, or Frot, for our Festival of Sun in a few weeks. My commanding general took some convincing to believe that a massage could be so beneficial. He had to visit Earth himself to understand. I think the Terran generals may have felt slightly offended when he cut his reception short to see just what Jenny could do. Since then, ties between Earth and Gort have deepened. Despite their supposedly weaker strength, human massage therapists hold a place of honor among us. The great houses, the Grand Army, the High Navy employ them. Even businesses seeking the best employees have hired human massage therapists to entice the best workers. I believe we would have eventually discovered this on our own, but the fact that an ally, a trading partner, introduced us informally to this spoke volumes about the humans. Though I admit I am confused by my friend. That simple massage has caused so much propensity for our great races, and yet he still says it didn't have a happy ending.